My dad threw me out over a secret. 15 years later, they came to my door and I still remember the way the door slammed behind me, the cold snap of reality as I stood barefoot on the porch, holding nothing but a duffel bag and a trembling breath. I was 18. And I had just told my father the secret I'd been hiding for years, that I was gay. His face had turned to stone. The same man who used to lift me on his shoulders to reach for stars now refused to look me in the eyes. "Not under my roof," he muttered. That was it. 15 years of being his son, gone in 4 words. I had nowhere to go. No plan. Just the ache of rejection burning in my chest. The nights that followed were a blur of couch surfing, sleeping in my beat-up car, and scrounging for tips working double shifts at a diner. I tried to keep my head up, telling myself things would get better. Some nights, they didn't. But I survived, thanks to strangers who became friends, friends who became family. I met Michael during one of those low points. He was kind, didn't ask questions, just handed me a coffee when I looked cold, gave me a ride when I needed it, and offered a room when mine was 4 wheels and broken dreams. Eventually, we fell in love. Not the movie kind, but the quiet, grounding kind. He made me believe that home was something you could build, even from rubble. 15 years passed. I built a life from the ground up, one without my father. I sent cards every birthday, every Christmas. I never got a single reply. Not a call. Not even a returned envelope. Michael would see the hurt in my eyes and squeeze my hand, reminding me that the family we choose can sometimes mean more than the one we're born into. And then, on a quiet Sunday afternoon, just as I was folding laundry, there was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, my breath caught. There they stood, my father and a teenage girl. Her eyes were the same shade as mine. "Hi," my father said, voice rough like gravel. "This is your sister. Her name's Grace." The world tilted. My father had remarried, I guessed. Had a daughter. But what were they doing here, on my doorstep, after all these years? "I know I have no right to ask anything," he said, glancing down like the weight of the years finally humbled him. "But Grace, she's sick. Leukemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant. We've tested everyone in the family. You're our last hope." I stood frozen. So many thoughts crashed over me, rage, confusion, disbelief. The nerve. The audacity to show up now, when his new child needed saving. After everything he had done. After all the silence. I should have slammed the door. But then I looked at her. Grace. She couldn't have been more than 13. Frail. Pale. But smiling up at me with the innocence of someone who had no idea what walls had been built before she even existed. "I heard I have a big brother," she said. "I drew you something." She pulled a crumpled piece of paper from her coat pocket, a picture of a stick figure holding hands with a smaller one. "This is us." My heart cracked wide open. I took the test. And I was a match. They scheduled the procedure within a week. Everyone at the hospital kept thanking me, calling me a hero. But I didn't feel like one. I did it because I couldn't let an innocent child suffer for her father's mistakes. I did it because no matter how much pain I'd carried, I believed, I had to believe, that compassion could rise above bitterness. That love, in its purest form, could rewrite endings. The recovery wasn't easy. I was tired, sore, and emotionally gutted. But Grace made it. Slowly, she got stronger. Her hair started growing back. Her laughter began to fill hospital halls. And every time she smiled at me, it felt like a piece of my soul was being stitched back together. My father tried to apologize. Once. His words stumbled, raw and uncertain. I was wrong. About everything. I was afraid, of what I didn't understand. And I punished you for it. I looked at him, the man who had thrown me out into the world without a second thought, now standing before me, cracked open by guilt and gratitude. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I said honestly. "Not yet. Maybe not ever fully. But I'm here. And maybe that's a start." We started small. Grace would visit on weekends. We'd bake cookies, watch old cartoons, and she'd pepper me with questions about what I was like when I was her age. Slowly, my father began to show up too. He'd sit quietly, mostly watching, sometimes helping. There were awkward silences, painful pauses, but also, moments of realness. The day he hugged Michael for the first time, I saw tears in his eyes. He didn't say much. Just, "Thank you for loving my son." It wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't perfect. But it was healing. 15 years ago, I thought I'd lost everything. But that knock on the door reminded me that sometimes, life brings you full circle, not to relive the past, but to give you a chance to reshape it. I don't know what the future holds for me and my father. But I do know this: Grace calls me her hero. And in her eyes, I see all the love I once believed I'd lost. Sometimes, the people who hurt you the most are also the ones who need your kindness the most. Not for them, but for you. Because forgiveness isn't weakness. It's freedom. And love, in all its unexpected forms, always finds a way back home.